Welcome to the MMHP in the 989, channeling all styles and eras of Michigan music history, recorded live from the Michigan Rock Legends Hall of Fame, located inside the Bay County Historical Museum
from the city by the bay,
featuring Dr. J, Fred Reif, Mr. Mike, and your host, Scott Baker. Brought to you by the 989 Podcast Network and the Michigan Rock Legends Hall of Fame, located at the Bay County Historical Society Museum at 321 Washington Avenue, Bay City, Michigan.
Welcome back to part two. Mr. Scott Morgan here in the MMHP and the 989. We're so grateful to have this legendary Michigan rocker join us for the show, and we were grateful to be invited down to his apartment and get to see all these photos and collections of music that he's put out from the Rationals through Sonic's Rendezvous and an amazing solo career. Here in part two, we're going to talk about a lot of the purses, places, and things that he's had to deal with from his Rob Tyner Bloodbrothers record and Hold On Baby with Seger and Skunk with Seger and the MC5, working with Dick Wagner, some of his publishing stories and how he gets his music out there now, as well as where he plans on going nowadays with his music. We're going to get the backstory on the whole thing here in part two and some of the deepest stories you're going to hear from Scott Morgan. And once again, we want to thank you listeners for making this podcast so successful. This was a tremendous episode to put out with this rock legend. And thanks for promoting the show and getting it out there to all your friends, families, and listeners. This is a free service that we do here at the MMHP and the 989. And we don't take it for granted. And we'd like all of you listeners to be able to enjoy this and know that we've put everything we have into it and how dedicated we are to this service. So enjoy part two, Mr. Scott Morgan.
How did you end up getting involved in Dodge, Maine, Scott?
I was in L.A. because my brothers lived there. So I was in L.A. and I was staying with my brother in Studio City. My brother Johnny, my youngest brother, who's recording an album himself now with Albert Lee, from Emmylou Harris's band, and he's played with a lot of people, the Everly Brothers,
right,
and all
right.
kinds of people. And what was the question?
Well, Dodge, Maine, how you got involved with
Okay, so I was
Dennis
there
Tech
visiting
and
my brother, and
Wayne Kramer.
Wayne called me, and he was on what's that label?
Anti.
Huh?
He was on Anti at the time. Kramer.
Not Anti is a parent label. I can't think what it's called. Anyway, the guy who ran the label was a keyboard player, like a blues keyboard player. And so he was in the studio recording with Dennis Tech, and he wanted me to come in and do some songs, be a guest on the album. So he wanted me to sing City Slang, and I don't know the words to it. So I just have to make them up, and then we did, trying to think what we did. I Got It Right by the Stooges, which is a really good version of that. And then we did something that Wayne wrote, I think. So I was on like maybe 3 songs. And I did an album with Rob Tyner at Schoolhouse called Bloodbrothers. So
Wow. I don't remember.
I got to play with as a sideman for people. It was fun.
Well, what brought about the 3 chords and a cloud of dust box set? How did that come about?
So Woody Hayes thing of Bo Schembechler.
Well, yeah,
brought to Ann Arbor. It was 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Right.
That was their game plan. They were just like plow ahead.
Well, watched many Ohio State Michigan games. So
yeah,
well aware of that. Well, how did the whole box set come about?
Well, so I got the name 3 Chords in a Cloud of Dust from 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Right.
And the box set was that this guy Bob Matthew was talking to Easy Action Records, and he set up this deal where he got Patty to agree to release a box set of Sonic's Rendezvous Band. And she had her son Jackson sign the contract. And she was trying to get Jackson into the music business and show him the business side of, the music business. And then we signed everybody else. Gary, me, Scott, and Ron Cook, I think even signed it. Eventually, I don't know how that worked out. But
so that led to a collection that focused on you, though, then, right? Because you're
talking about this box right here?
Yeah, I'm talking about this box right there.
Yeah.
This is like your...
That's all my
your
stuff.
entire career.
Yeah. Yeah.
So...
It's kind of a compilation.
Well, right. My question is, who came up with that idea? I mean, it's a great idea to look at your entire career. I mean, it's an absolutely amazing collection of songs.
What's it say on the... There's a booklet in there.
Oh, okay. So did you have anything to do with picking out the songs? I mean, did they go to you and say, Scott, what do you want on here and so on?
Yeah.
How old is this?
Boy, I'm trying to think.
I didn't even know that was out.
I don't know. It has to be between 5 and 10 years ago when this first came out, wasn't it, Scott? I'm trying to think when I bought it.
Should be dates and all that stuff.
Yeah, I would think the date's on there. I don't have my glasses, so I can't read it. That's way too small.
Who's got?
I got them.
I got my glasses.
Okay, yeah. We're going to need some help here.
All right, so who was the guy at the label that got you hooked up with this? Do you remember, or you don't remember?
Carlton Sandercock?
Is that who did it? Who you're looking for?
Yeah.
Well, we're looking for the date. But, yeah, I mean, it's really a great collection.
Carlton Sandercock is the A&R guy.
Yeah.
He's the man on the street for Easy Action. Their offices are in London. Yeah. It's a big company. They got a lot of people. They got a Patti Smith album on there. Doing Robert Mapplethorpe album.
There is no date on
Really?
Yeah. They got Stooges. They got MC5. They got all kinds of stuff.
But she's doing Robert Mapplethorpe? In what way?
Some tribute to him or something.
Okay, she's
poems
doing
about him.
Oh, poems then. Okay,
Yeah.
right. Okay. I know they were very good friends.
Yes. He's took the photos for her first album.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I don't see dates on here.
Well, it's an amazing collection.
Yeah, I got to dig that up.
Yeah, it's great.
That's something
in fact, all your collections, that Rationals, Think Rational, that had all the Jeep Holland stuff on it, that's an amazing double CD, too.
You're talking about the A's Third Man?
Yeah, I
release?
guess it would be, right.
Yeah, that's everybody but the Rationals. So that has...
Oh, no, I'm talking about the ones that was just the Rationals.
Oh,
not A Square, of course.
Yeah.
Which is also very good. I mean, I enjoy that one, too.
No,
but I really
like
Rational. Your stuff.
It's called Think Rational.
Yeah, your stuff was unavailable. I mean, until that collection came out, to have all those songs by the Rationals, yeah, it was awesome. All the singles, wow, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, they put it out. And
yeah,
they did a good job and everything.
Yeah,
I think they were over it. They got a big catalog. It looks like a phone book,
Yeah.
So.
But great that they, saw how great the Rationals were, and put that collection out there so others could discover it as well.
Which label? Ace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because do you find that European audiences tend to be more, I don't know, what word am I looking for here? More appreciative of American music sometimes than American audiences
if you look at the Beatles and the Stones and the Who and on,
yeah.
You can see that they're heavily influenced by American music. So
Right.
when you take that back to them, like if you see Aretha live at the Concertbouw in Amsterdam, she's like, this audience is going crazy. They never heard anything like this before. Mm-hmm. She's doing Respect, and she's doing Dr. Feelgood, and she's doing Satisfaction, and in her live show, and she's got the Sweet Inspiration singing backup for her, and she's got a big band behind her and stuff, and the audience is going like, we didn't know this kind of music existed, like, you know.
Yeah.
So that's the connection, you know.
Sure.
We left England a long time ago. We're not one of the colonies anymore. So we have to correct them and say, no, it's over. You know, in 1812, we had a little battle, and,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, and now we're allies.
But that's got to be a good feeling for you that people overseas appreciate what you've done over the years, you know, as an artist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Well,
pretty cool.
And now it's universal, you know, really.
Right.
I mean, there was a Russian band that came to Ann Arbor that was staying here for a while. And they wanted me to jam with them and stuff. And like, because it's probably like Pussy Riot or something like that. They got really political about their thing. And they ended up like in the gulag, you know.
That's right.
And
Wasn't
eventually
they called like Elvis something or Red Elvis? Or...
Yep. They backed Jen Cass on her first record.
Oh, really?
What?
The Red Elvises.
Oh, I don't know them.
That's the Russian band that was in Ann Arbor for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the band I met then.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
they backed Jen on her first record.
Yeah, we talked about that on the podcast.
So I remember when I was living here, they played at the Blind Pig.
Well, yeah. What happened to them? Are they in the gulag or what's going
I
on?
have no idea.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, it's like now it's sort of like Jesus, what's going on with all this political intrigue on the other side of the pond, you know?
So you've been playing since the 60s. Have you, in any of your downtime, have you had to get a day job or anything like that, or have you just played music your whole life? Oh, yeah?
Sure.
What did you do in between?
All kinds of stuff. Anything I could.
Yeah? Pick
Yeah.
up jobs?
I worked for Natural Foods Company. I worked for a company that did tree work, like tree trimming and stuff like that. And,
Whatever.
worked
you
for
could.
Manpower.
Did you?
They would send me places that I was not qualified to be working at, you know, and it's like if this machine that would like put these ends on these giant rollers, and I would always bend the giant rollers. And so the manager, whatever, you know, the boss would come around and he was like, "What's this? Don't bring him back here." So I said I gave up on that. They were sending me the last time I did that. They were sending me to the quads, to work in the dishwasher part of the building.
What was the longest job you held that wasn't a music job?
Eden Foods was a long time. It was
Yeah.
a couple of years.
What were you doing there? Stocking? What were you just,
All kinds of stuff.
yeah?
Yeah. I even drove the high-low one time, and they're all going like, like you know, it's like a forklift, you know. You have to
I know.
lift these giant 50-gallon barrels like on a pallet, like up and stack it up on top of the other ones, and we're going, oh.
Eden Foods, aren't they in that little town where Frank Allison lives? Clinton.
Yeah.
Clinton.
Frank Ellison's from Clinton?
Well, he lives there. He
Lives there now.
Him and his wife bought the theater.
Did he retire from the music business? Or?
Well, if you look on Facebook,
Okay.
sometimes he puts out a song about every week.
Oh,
And I usually share it because,
so he's just posting stuff. He's
Right.
streaming it.
right,
Yeah.
because, his voice, he had something wrong, some health issue.
Oh,
So his
that's why
voice
he
is
stopped.
completely different.
Oh,
It's more
Really?
like, it's
did he have throat cancer or something?
something like that.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, because when I moved here in 91, he was like the top band here. Everybody
Oh, I
loved
remember.
Frank
Yeah.
Allison and the Odd Sox.
Everybody's gaga over Howard Kramer. He's like just gaga over Frank.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember I was telling these guys that on the way here, back in the early 90s, when I was working at School Kids, you came by the store and asked me if I wanted to go see Bob Seger rehearse. And they were rehearsing at Hill Auditorium or somewhere.
Oh, yeah. I
And
remember
we
that.
went there, and everybody knew you, of course. And,
Yeah, I knew the guys who were his tour managers,
okay.
stage managers, or whatever you call it. The Blazers.
But we got in.
Craig and Karen Blazer.
That was quite a...
Yeah, we could get into. I've known Bob since,
Right.
before.
But
we
I
were
was thrilled.
popular,
I was shocked. I mean, and I got, wow. But I had to go because I had to get back to work.
I think I had to go too.
Yeah, well, you
Oh,
stayed there after I
Did
did,
I?
but I didn't know how long you stayed.
It's just Bob's rehearsal. It's just didn't really want any distractions. It's
Right.
real focused. It's done him well. And, he went
You still
from
keep in touch with him?
not really. His wife posted something on Facebook to me, and I just wrote back like to say hi to Bob or something, and I never heard from her again. So I don't know. He seems to want to stay at arm's length away from working with other artists, producing people. Everybody asks him, why don't you produce the Rationals or whatever, or Scott? I don't know. He says, well, I'm not really good at production.
Did you guys ever record anything after that one you mentioned when we first started talking, where he sang the high part? You guys recorded together. Did you guys ever work together after that?
No.
Okay.
No, that's the only time.
Okay. Wow.
I think. We did Skunk on the High Time album. Bob's on that. At the beginning of the song, there's we're all playing like different shakers and stuff and hooting and hollering and
This
Bob
is on the
says,
MC
"Hi-ho, Silver!"
This is the MC5
Yeah,
Skunk?
the High Time album that Artie Fields, where we recorded the Rationals album.
So you
It
were
got
on
to
that
be the
session.
place to record.
So you were on the MC5 records too, then?
What?
You were on the MC5 records?
Just that one song.
Okay. Wow. It's all-star kind of jam, then.
Yeah.
I get you.
It's just, he just how all these people, I think my brother was there, and they all got credits, for on the High Time album. There was credits for everybody of all the people that were there. I think T. Garner, Vin Winkle, Bob,
I have to
me
dig
and
them.
my brother, and some of the Rationals.
I just remember the CDs of those albums were so thin on liner notes that there was nothing to read back in the day. I never had a copy on vinyl, so I'd be intrigued
Well,
to see that.
it started with Barry Gordy, and maybe it was before him, but they didn't want people to know that the band was all black guys except for Joe Messina. Was he Italian? I guess. I don't know. And they called him the Oreo cookie guitar section
Yeah.
because it's Shank Willis and Robert White.
Right.
And
Joe
Joe.
Messina in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oreo cookie. Oh my gosh.
We had Steve Lyman on the show a while back.
Oh, okay.
Were the Rationals and the Scott Richard case fairly close since you guys both recorded, at least initially, for A Square?
Rationals and who?
The Scott Richard case?
Yeah, sure.
SRC?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Jeep Holland's partner was Pete Andrews. And so they were both running A Square, and then Bob would come by to Jeep's house and play us the new record that he was making, Heavy Music, and play us both sides, part 1 and 2, and so Pete Andrews left to manage SRC. And so they opened that Morgan Sound Theater, which has nothing to do with me. It's on Morgan Road.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a nice studio. And actually, Bob would come out and rehearse. They used it for his a rehearsal room, too. But there was a recording studio in there.
Did you, Jeep released that 145 that had you on one side doing a cover of I Need You,
The Kinks.
the Kinks song.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, was Get the Picture or something by the
The
Scott
old
Richard.
exciting Scott Richard
Right.
case. Yeah.
Okay, had you guys left Jeep at that time?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was sort of like, I don't know, what he released that as sort of a kiss off to both bands?
I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So were there some hard feelings when you guys left Jeep?
I wasn't into it at all. I thought Jeep had done a good job. He almost killed my brother. Other than that, he was a terrible driver. He would talk to people in the back seat while he's driving down the expressway, and he's like chewing speed and eating pizza and talking to people in the back seat, and he's not paying any attention to what he's supposed to be doing. No, he's not looking at the road. So they're going to Lansing, and my brother's in the passenger seat, and he does that on, 96, and so he's like swerving around cars and trying to get there faster, and pretty soon he's just over on the shoulder, and then the thing starts rolling down the shoulder, and then 3 times roll over, and the top, like a sardine can, opened up, and giant rationals painted on the side, and my brother's like lying there in the grass, and Jeep's lying there, and all the equipment's lying there, and they're both alive.
Wow,
I don't know
miracle.
how they did it.
Yeah.
My brother only got slightly beat up, and Jeep was a little more seriously injured, and so he was kind of laid up for a while. But after that, it was like, I didn't think that wasn't a reason to leave him.
Okay.
But the rest of the band were thinking, well, there's this, we'll hook up with Robin Seymour and this other manager, Larry Feldman, and then so we did that and recorded that album at Artie Fields, the only album that we recorded with the Rationals, the studio album. And they brought in this producer, Fred Saxon, and he came in and he took these flute segues from one of the songs and put them in between all the tracks, which drove the DJs crazy because they had to cue it off, when the song ended, so they could go into a commercial of the next song or something.
So you guys weren't into that approach that he had of, putting those little
That was his
instrumental
idea.
interludes. Yeah.
I thought it was cool, but
Okay.
DJs,
Yeah, it was real different.
Didn't like it.
I mean, yeah, there was.
because it was more of a hassle for them. They couldn't just put it on.
Yeah, I think it's the only album I ever remember that did that. I mean, it was a very unique approach.
Yeah, when they're doing a segue, they have to pull it down before it goes into the little part between the songs.
Right.
So that was the only problem with that. But then with Larry Feldman, he was working with this other band called the Sunday Funnies, who they got Andrew Oldham to produce them. I don't know how they did that, but that didn't go anywhere, except that they had a really good guitar player and a good keyboard player. Kaz on the keyboards and
Yeah.
Danny Rains on guitar. And we almost had Danny Rains playing with the Rationals at one point. And he ended up going on tour with Dolly Parton and getting beat up on the beach in Hawaii, and really messed his head up, a concussion
Jeez.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And Larry Feldman, I opened the Ann Arbor News one day, and they used to put the 10 most wanted list on the police beat, and there's Larry Feldman's picture. He's 10 most wanted by the FBI.
Oh my gosh.
He was selling coke, and he went to California, and he must have muscled in on the wrong people's territory, because these guys were not messing around. They're big time coke dealers, probably Mexican cartels or something like that. And they were shipping it up in the Arms for Hostage thing. Freeway Rick, he had so much coke that he had to turn it into crack to use it up, because he had more than he could sell.
Jeez.
It was in the Arms for Contra thing. There's a movie about it called Kill the Messenger with Jeremy Renner.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's all about that. It's the guy who he was a journalist for the San Jose Mercury News. He wrote the story up, and after that, he was like blacklisted from journalism, basically. But he told the real story about what had happened. We were trading arms to the Contras for cocaine. And then they would ship the cocaine back to these LA gangsters that were, dealing it all across the country and maybe the world.
Yeah, jeez.
And you and Gary have been together for a long time, on and off. Did you work with him when he was in the Up and all that too?
No, we knew him from the Up.
Did you?
Yeah.
How did you guys get your connection? And because a lot of years, you guys have done a lot together, and it seems like a pretty.
Me and Scott did that. We got him in Sonic's Rendezvous Band.
Right, you said that earlier, but
Yeah.
I mean, he was in the Rationals with you, wasn't he? Was it Gary in the Rationals?
No.
Oh, okay.
But the
He
Up,
was in the Up.
yeah, the Up recorded at least one song for A Square. It's on that compilation.
Yeah.
That's my
A
connection.
Square for,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah.
confusing it, but I just know that you guys have had a pretty cool brotherhood. Tell me about your history with Gary Rasmussen and all that.
Well, the Up had the house. They when they came out from John Lodge, the Cass Corridor, they came to Ann Arbor after the riots, and they got these leased two houses on Hill Street, right, matching houses right next to each other, and one was the MC5 house, the other one was the Up house, and Dave Sinclair managed the Up, and John managed the MC5. And so we would see Gary all the time. He was just around, We were all kind of like interwoven, because we're all doing the same thing, basically.
yeah. Well, they opened the Free John Sinclair rally
Yeah.
at Chrysler Arena.
Yeah, I was just mad because we didn't get to play.
Yeah, really. That you would have been great there.
Yeah, I saw them at the Delta Pop Festival.
Yeah, I was there. I remember
Yeah.
that. There's
And
a video.
They all looked like, because we were all pretty high, and
Which one's the Up? Or
no,
the- Oh, you were right.
we were,
Okay.
and well, the Up looked like they were because they looked like they were 10 feet tall
Oh,
and all
like a
legs.
carnival
And then I
mirrors.
met
They're
Frank,
really up.
I met Frank Bach later on, who was the lead singer, I think. And he's a short guy. And Gary's not that tall.
Hey, he's Gary's
So-
6'1"
It
or
must have
something
been the
like
drugs.
The acid.
It had to
that
be
night.
the
Yeah,
drugs.
good
Just
acid.
the drugs.
They
that.
were-
Gary was
the
the
Up
tallest
were
one in
really
the
up.
band. He was
Right.
6'1".
Well,
Frank Bach was about my height.
Hmm.
I kept thinking,
That's a normal sized guy.
yeah. Well, Gary plays in Bay City quite often with the Broken Arrow Blues Band. He's played at Scotty's
and
several
Scotty's.
times and
BMO's.
BMO's.
About once a month he's up.
Yeah, so they play in Bay City quite often.
Yeah, that's his band.
Right.
You guys
Yeah.
jammed.
They're the ones
two
that played
weekends
at the
ago, too.
Blind Pig at
Yeah,
the
so
MC5 show.
you played there too with them.
Yeah,
It was
that's-
cool to see you guys together.
He's got his wife, girlfriend, whatever, is been with her long enough. She might as well be his wife. And
Marty or something.
Marla Schwartz.
Marla, yeah. I had a run in with.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I tried to talk her into. I'm saying, well, Marla, look, we could really make this big. With we called the band Motor Jam, and we could just play these shows in Detroit and make some money and not have any expenses. Go home, not have to travel expenses other than some gas, and then we could go out and play in Cleveland and Chicago and Memphis, and maybe we'll get to New York or go out west or go out to Texas, go to Austin, and she didn't want to hear it, so that's when the helicopter showed up. It's like,
Oh,
here I am.
Perfect timing.
yeah.
Uncle Sam needs you, son.
Yeah.
One
Here,
person.
give me that guitar. I'll take this rifle.
That's funny.
It's-
You haven't mentioned Dick Wagner at all, and I know you guys did the Guitar Army together, which is the '80s thing, right? In Detroit with Mark Farner. Was it you and Dick?
Yeah, there's Podell named it that.
Yeah.
Doug Podell.
Did you cross paths with Wagner a lot? I worked with him in his studio in Saginaw for 3 years, and I just went
With who?
Dick Wagner.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
sure. We knew him from back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Wagner's recorded some things for A Square too. That's on that collection.
Yeah, he was in a band called the Boss Men.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they had an early version of Mystery Man. That's on
Yeah.
that.
And he
You know
recorded that at the Grandy Ballroom.
Yeah,
And that was the first Bossman album, I think. It was
Yeah.
on Vanguard or something.
right.
No, that was Frost.
Frost was
Well,
on
they,
that,
yeah,
right?
there was
Oh, that's
Frost.
Frost. You're right.
But the
That was a Frost.
version on A Square, of course, I'm trying to remember if that's listed as the Bossman or the Frost.
It was the one right in between the two, wasn't it?
Probably
Yeah.
the Bossman.
Yeah, it was right
Back
at that
then.
point where he was shifting. you
Yeah,
know,
he
from
moved.
the Bossman.
He moved. He had the same guys, but he just changed direction because
Right.
he wanted to suit that audience, you
More
know,
the
Grandy
heavy
ballroom
Yeah,
audience,
Grandy Ballroom.
more
audience.
psychedelic.
Right.
And
Did you do anything with Wagner, write with him, or perform with him at all, other than sharing bills?
no, we were friends, but.
Mhm.
You know, he was always trying to sell us songs and stuff. We're Bob, or not Bob, Dick. You know, we're writing our own songs. You know,
Yeah.
but thanks. You know,
That's funny. It's a question I had for you too. Was I know Dick spent a lot of time talking about his recouping his copyrights and his money publishing. You know, is your publishing awesome still, or did you retain all your publishing? How did that work out for you over the years? Are you able to still recoup a really good?
they don't make any money because of streaming.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Publishers get
Yeah.
cut out. Songwriters and publishers.
So your checks went down quite a bit since the streaming happened.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big time. Immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you still own full ownership of most of all your publishing?
Yeah.
Good for you. Another solid, cool thing, Michigan.
Yeah.
here.
You don't get paid for it because it's
Yeah.
now it's all digital.
Yeah.
You know, you're selling the digital rights, but still, I own the publishing,
Yeah.
and so I get the
EMI check.
mechanicals
Yeah.
and the publishing.
And that's cool.
But
I'm glad
because of
you
streaming,
retained
I don't
yours.
really get much of anything.
Well, the fact that you retained it is
Yeah.
from your era. A lot of guys signed away their rights, and it's cool to hear
That's
this story.
bad.
Sherman
idea.
Well,
Rice.
what would be nice though if somebody picked up one of your songs for a commercial,
That's called a synchronization fee.
that would be a little.
So like
different,
Bob
right?
did for like a rock for Chevy.
Right.
He probably got paid a lot of money for that. Or the Romantics did one for What I Like About You,
Yeah.
I think, and that can be a lot of money. Depends on what kind of deal you get. An attorney gets.
You know, but it seems
contract
though
for it.
now that actually companies are kind of looking for songs that are a little off the
Yeah.
beaten path.
For movies,
well, I couldn't believe it here.
commercials.
The Velvet Underground was doing a major commercial.
Really?
Yeah, from their first album. The album that sold maybe 150 copies.
Who's the lead singer in Pearl Jam? Eddie
Eddie
Vedder?
Vedder. Yeah.
He does a cat food commercial now. Have you seen that one?
Oh,
No?
I didn't know that.
It's weird.
Wow.
He's like dancing around with this cat food.
Really? I gotta look that up now. Is that a Japanese only commercial?
It's on TV all the time.
Okay, I missed it.
okay. Jeez. Haven't
What?
seen that one.
That's wild though. The whole commercial thing is a big money maker, but like he was saying, if you tap into something like the Velvet Underground one, Neil Young actually is allowing his into commercials now because it's one of the few ways you can be heard and be paid.
And they're also thinking that, I think Stephen Van Zandt brings this up, that's a way that you keep the music alive, is if you in a commercial, because actually you're turning young people on to songs that normally they wouldn't hear, and maybe they would then get interested in that particular artist
Yeah.
and look up the
Our
music.
singer, Chrissy Morgan, from the Rough and Ready album that I did with Eddie Baranek, and the Sights band basically, but it's really good band and a really good record. And her and Liz sang all the vocals, and we had horns, and we had a full band with a keyboard player, and it turned out really well. And she moved to Kentucky, and she's like as far southwest in Kentucky as you can get, like where the Ohio and the Mississippi, the Missouri all come together in this one little spot. So she built a house down there, but she's doing commercials now, and it's like a synchronization deal. And when in the Rationals, we did one for Danby's Clothes called Shop at Danby's.
Right, that's right.
And we didn't get anything. So it was stupid. We didn't even get any clothes. And then they called me back and they said, well, we want you to do a Levoris commercial. And I'm going like, I can't do this. So they're going like, come on, you can try it. It's don't blow your good friends away. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So I just left. I just said, no, I'm not. I've walked out of a few situations like that.
Well, that Danby's commercial though is kind of a classic.
We played it live at the Grandy, and people clapped like it was a joke. And when we did the Beatles' Don't Want to Spoil Your Party, I would always go out and walk around the audience and act like I was in the audience, like watching a show, like performance art or something.
Did you ever get any calls to be on any video games? That's another big thing for kids hearing old music. Video games, so that was just curious. That's another huge moneymaker.
Who runs that?
Depends. It's all probably foreign, you know. But then
the mob or something?
Could be.
I don't know.
I don't know. They had the jukeboxes for a while.
Could be Apple Music, you know.
Could be, you know, like a big streaming company like Spotify. Yeah. Somebody or Apple.
Well, video games are usually, I don't know who chooses music for them all, but you know, you see Guns N' Roses are in it, Metallica are in it now.
Sure.
And you know, going back to the Velvet Underground thing he just mentioned, or Bob's Like a Rock, it kind of started.
I see what you're saying.
You know, and now video games is the other half of that.
Sure.
Selling to kids.
It's like free publicity.
Yeah. And another mechanical license, like you're saying, of
probably
big money.
Yeah, if you're selling mass quantities of them.
Nick Drake.
Yeah.
You know, who talk about a cult artist, but he got on a car commercial, and I mean that turned people on to Nick Drake, like you know, never before.
Yep.
We put out a CD by somebody doing Nick Drake songs.
Okay.
And that sold pretty well.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
And I had never heard of him before that.
Talk about an English folkie that was kind of hidden underground that just is huge now. He's like a nostalgia.
Steve was picking up all kinds of stuff like that. It was the guy who was the son of an actress, famous actress. He put out an album.
Well, his girlfriend, because you were on it.
Yeah, I was on it.
Jamie James.
Yeah. And then the guy
he brought Cloris Leachman's daughter.
That's
his girlfriend.
Cloris Leachman.
And I think we did it at Rick's, didn't we? His album release party, because you sang at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I sang a couple songs or something like that. I don't know what I was doing on, but it's because I was on School Kids. And then the guy from NRBQ.
Oh, Steve Ferguson.
Steve Ferguson. Yeah, we played with them at Steve Paul's Scene with Jimi Hendrix and Johnny Winter, because Steve Paul managed Johnny Winter. So Jimmy would come in to jam with Johnny. And they're like, it's like every night it's somebody different, you know.
Speaking of Steve Paul's Scene, you were there apparently the night that Slim Harpo brought Lightning Slim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because Steve Nardella was there. And you
guys didn't know it.
Well, he was still living in Rhode Island.
4 nights or 5 nights.
Right.
And every night was somebody different. One night it's Slim Harpo. Another night it's the original Fleetwood Mac when they were a blues band. And
because I met Lightning Slim. I rediscovered him a year later. Because that apparently was in 1969 or 68.
Yeah.
And I rediscovered them and I got them back playing again in 1970.
Really? So when you say that Slim brought Lightning Slim in, was it like from?
Well, he picked them up in Pontiac, Michigan, because Lightning was renting a room from Slim Harpo's sister.
Ah.
That's how all of that. He was never married to her, as sometimes you'll read in books, but that's not the story.
Same thing, common law.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, he just rented a room.
Uh-huh.
Now, Lazy Lester was married to her, or together with her,
Wow.
but not Lightning Slim.
Yeah, well, I remember Lightning Slim playing with Slim Harpo, and Slim Harpo was like, to me, he was great. You know, he had all these great records like Keep Shaking and
I'm a King Bee.
King Bee and Scratch My Back and these great songs.
Yeah,
Yeah, Nardella said that Lightning at Steve Paul's scene looked like really scared to be in a big city. He had on kind of old raggedy suit. And
Lightning?
he was Lightning and more nervous about
I don't
being
think we
there.
noticed that. we were going like, God, this is Slim Harpo. You know?
Yeah.
And
Where
he
was
brought
that at?
Lightning Slim. This is cool.
Steve
Like,
Paul's
we were
scene in
looking
New
at
York
his
City.
clothes. It's like somebody. I put a picture of Carole King who wrote "I Need You" with Jerry Goffin, and I posted it, and they're saying, "Well, there's something wrong with their mic connection." I'm going like, "Who's looking at the microphone?" It's a picture of Carole King singing, into this microphone at session,
Yeah.
That's cool. No, I want to ask you about your archives.
Sure.
What do you got laying around that hasn't been put out yet?
The Rough and Ready album that I did with Eddie Baranek from the Sights. That album came out on a Detroit label called Rouge Records, and they just flubbed it. And so we had the rights to that. We want to release that.
You ever have anybody approach you about any of your historical releases still? Or Third Man from Detroit or anything? Or
We talked to Third Man.
yeah?
We just haven't been able to make an agreement with them.
It seems like they'd be
It's a friend of Eddie's, actually. It's Bill
Bill Blackwell.
No. Is that his name?
I think so. Yeah. He's in the Nashville one now. We were talking about him. We actually went and had a tour of it in December
Dave Buick.
with Dave Buick, and he was saying that Blackwell is like the main guy down in Nashville now, for Jack. And I just wondered how it came about, like how they seem to really
It's
reach
from the
out.
Gories or something like that.
I can't remember.
Blackwell.
Ben
And
Blackwell.
Jim, the guy with the recording studio. Jim Diamond.
Oh, yep.
Those guys, Dave Shetler,
Hmm.
they all played together.
But you haven't. They've talked to you about putting some stuff out, but you haven't come to an agreement.
We pitched it to them. They just didn't seem interested.
Okay. How much stuff do you have here that nobody's heard? Or do you have it like archived somewhere? Is there?
Well, I would just go with the stuff that we've already got, and so we're having a meeting with Howard Hertz about that kind of thing.
Is this the future of what you got going on right now? Is this the
Well,
next step?
we want to talk to Howard because he's the top entertainment attorney in Detroit. He's handles M&M and he's done a really good job with him.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk to him, and we're not in the same category in any way as M&M, but
Right.
but we are in the entertainment business, so we're going to talk to Howard and see what he does. Is funny story about Terry Trabant and I jammed with Joe Walsh, and Chooch McGee was there. It was Ron Wood's guitar tech, He's from Marquette.
Right.
And when he died, all the Stones flew up to Marquette for the funeral.
And played at the funeral.
I didn't know that.
They played Amazing Grace. I guess there wasn't a dry eye in the church.
Were you there? Or did you see?
But a very good brother of my best friend lived up in Marquette, and so he was.
So the
there.
whole band came in?
Yeah, not only the band, they brought everybody. Everybody knew Chooch McGee. And,
Sure.
It was like the whole Stones touring party came.
When was
Wow.
that? I forgot. We
When
mentioned
he
that a
died,
few times.
would have been, a number of years ago now.
20 years.
He had
Oh.
10 years at least.
Someone
Probably
ought to
more than
release that one.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
We've mentioned that
the
on our
Stones
podcast.
went up,
a
and
few
I
times,
guess Jagger played harmonica, and
Oh.
yeah, I mean,
it's on a podcast?
no, this is
No, I
this
meant
is right in the church.
Gary's mentioned this on our show.
I wonder if it's on YouTube.
I don't think so. I don't think they probably
It's
didn't.
blocked somehow?
They probably didn't allow any
Yeah.
cameras or everything in
Well, this thing with Terry Trabant and Joe Walsh, Joe used this lick that Terry played, and we're just jamming with him, right? And it was called "Turn to Stone," a song that Joe recorded, and his manager was it Irving Azoff, his manager.
there.
He worked with the Eagles.
Yeah, it's.
Is that Azoff?
Okay.
Yeah.
And he sent Terry a one-page document that says if you sign your rights away to Turn to Stone, we'll give you $1,000. I said, Terry, don't sign that. Get an attorney, negotiate, And so he got an attorney in L.A., and this guy was like really good. He got Terry's name on songs that he didn't even write on Joe's next album. And Joe never even thought twice about it. He's just, we're still friends. He invited us to come see him play at Pine Knob or whatever, and have us backstage, and we could watch the show from the wings and stuff with the, I guess he was still in the James Gang, I think.
That last James Gang tour that came out about 6 or 7 years ago?
It was just a long time ago.
Yeah, I remember they played Pine Knob.
Well, this would have been around early 70s.
Oh, you're talking a long time ago.
Yeah.
When the James Gang was
Before he
really
was in
hot.
the Eagles.
Yeah.
Oh, so before Irving Azoff, then, possibly.
Could be.
Yeah.
Whoever sent the contract, Terry didn't sign it. He got this attorney, and the attorney got a really good deal. A lot of money and credits for stuff he didn't write, but then I have to go back and say that Joe didn't hold it against him at all. He just thought, it's just music,
Yeah.
and
Damn,
we'll
what
do
a
some
story.
more,
Yeah.
So
Turn
then
to
he joined the
Stones.
Eagles.
Yeah. Turn to Stone's epic, Joe Walsh. Another guy from the Midwest, Wagner and Bobby Randall, and them told me about running into him at in Cleveland. They go to Cleveland to something, and Joe would be the kid on the corner playing guitar, always sitting in trying to jam on their shows and stuff. Before
Akron, Cleveland.
before the James
Chrissy
Gang
Hines,
he was in
Akron.
it. There was another guy in the James Gang, and he took his place. But
Oh,
they were like, yeah, we would go in the studio.
he's really good. Joe's a really good
Oh
guitar
yeah,
player.
and they had Bobby Randall had a great story about it. I just remember.
He used to do a version of Bolero that was like really good.
Is that around the time Jeff Beck's Bolero came out, or before
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
He played he could play classical music
Oh,
on
yeah,
electric
yeah.
guitar,
Do you guys still talk? You
You
and
know,
Joe?
No,
No.
we just lost touch. It's not that we don't get along or anything. It's
Right.
just
Time.
it's like Glenn Fry. It's Glenn Fry was just hanging out with Bob in Detroit, and they're going like, maybe we should write some songs like the Rationals, and so we started hanging out with Glenn, and we took him up to Traverse City, up to Traverse Bay West. I don't know what club we were playing at the
Tom's
time.
house.
Yeah, probably something
Yeah,
like
that was a big teen spot up there and just north of Traverse City.
This is before he went to California.
Oh, yeah.
So we took him up as like a roadie or something. We were just along, just, you know, in the posse. And we decided we were going to smoke a whole ounce of pot. And we got this really good Mexican pot and smoke half of it. And we're going like, we are really stoned. We have to stop. We're never going to finish this. So we were just like tripping high, you know. And so we went out on the beach and started playing on the kids' toys on the beach. And like back then, like you're high enough you could hear music coming out of the pop machine and like a symphony, and, you know.
The guys were really tall.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was the last time I saw him, and he went to the motel room next door to us on West Traverse Bay, and he went into the other guy's room, and they were watching TV, but there's nothing on TV. It's just static. So he's sitting in front of the TV. He's going, "Hey, you guys, come here, look at this. Now tell me what is this?" And he's just staring at static on the TV, and they're going like, "Glenn, you have to leave." And so they kicked him out. And so I'm driving by Pioneer High School like 3 years later. And Pioneer High School, of all places. And Glenn's from the suburbs, somewhere out like Novi or somewhere out there. I don't know exactly where he's from originally. Then he moved to Royal Oak. So we could say he was from Detroit, closer to Detroit. And so I'm driving by Pioneer, and there's songs on the radio, and they're going like, the DJ says, "And that's Detroit's own Glenn Fry playing Take It Easy." And I'm going like, what? Last time I saw him, he was staring at the static on the TV in Traverse City. And now he's in the Eagles, and he's hanging out with Linda Ronstadt. And we couldn't even get past the Stone Ponies. They just slammed the door in our face. We just wanted to talk to her, you know, it's like, hi. So he's hanging out with her now. They're best friends.
Playing in her backing band.
He's been in
too.
her band.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah. It's on YouTube now.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear it. You know, it's just like he's Linda's singing, and he's singing backup or something like that.
You mentioned earlier that when we started about Bob singing with you the high part on one of your songs.
Yeah, Hold On Baby.
Yeah, it made me think of his part, Glenn's part on Ramble Gamble Man.
Oh, he plays. Yeah. He's on that one, huh?
Yeah, you can hear him crystal clear on the choruses. Every chorus is him between Bob's verses. You know.
Is that the only thing he did? Did he?
As far as I know,
he didn't do heavy music.
Actually, he went out to California before that was even released.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that was one of his last things before he took off.
Right, he took off for California.
Yeah, it made me think of that story because it's Bob sang with you, and then Glenn Fry sang with Bob, and so on and so forth. It's kind of cool how you guys interconnect, and you know.
It was all just really different because you didn't have to have passes to get to talk to the other musicians and stuff. You know, you were just like, we're all musicians, you know, we're just, you know, trading stories, wood chopping, and, you know.
You got to interconnect with a lot of different people. What was your favorite part of your history so far?
Well, playing live.
Just playing live?
Yeah.
I mean, anybody, I guess, any band, or just your own band? What's your favorite part of that?
All of them. I'm just me. Whoever I play with is what I'm doing, you know.
I love that. That's cool.
I'm going to be influenced and influence other people I work with, but it's always just me. So
wonderful.
In a band or in a
it was great
journeyman
seeing, it was
situation.
great seeing you sing at the MC5 tribute.
Yeah, that's the only song that when Fred and I put Sonic's Rendezvous Band together, we decided from the start not to do MC5s, Rationals, and then with Scott's in the band, not to do Stooges.
You guys put the kibosh to it just because who was in the band, huh? Wow, I never even thought about that. Didn't want to provoke anybody with prior bands. You wanted to be your own band.
Yeah, we wanted to start our own band and write our own songs and pick our own covers. Wow. And so that's what we did. And so we're going to a gig, and Fred, it was some outdoor festival or something, Saugatuck or something like that, and Fred wrote down the lyrics to Baby Won't You, and he's going like, I don't want to do an MC5 song, but I wrote this song, and I think we'll just do it one time. So he wrote down the words to me. And so I had the words to Baby Won't You. And I don't have the words to City Slang because they were always different every time he played it, And I'm sure when he recorded it, he probably had little pieces of paper and Post-its and all this stuff, like, the binder paper and just whatever he happened to write down on napkins or whatever. And so that's how I learned Baby Won't You. It's a great song.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to remember that you played that at the tribute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Empty Heart.
Yeah, Empty Heart. I love that version you guys did.
That's what I'm doing at the Concert of Colors.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
the old Stones.
And I got to
Okay.
sing a verse on Kick Out the Jams.
Oh, cool. No doubt.
So these telemarketers are getting like really pushy. They came into here and they came to my door, and this is like free grazing to them, because you got all these older people that don't have anybody to take care of their finances, and it's easy to steal everything they got, their homes, or
How can they get in the door? I mean, do they?
they snuck in. There's a sign there that says no solicitors allowed. So they put in a new intercom system now that you guys, I don't know.
Okay.
So they came to my door and they're trying to sell me something. It's like burial insurance or something like that. Thanks a lot.
Burial insurance. Yeah.
Freddie got scammed though. Good. He got scammed hard too.
My mom's cousin did too. She lost all her property. And my friend's wife's mother got scammed. She lost a house on San Francisco Bay and a bunch of assets and stuff like that.
Do it again. Yeah.
No, but it's common. And
It is.
so what's going on now is this, tax the poor and give breaks to the rich and all this stuff. It's like, it's all part of this 2025 thing.
Right.
It's like there's no global climate change,
Well, they, and they're bold too. Of these scammers, they tried to steal Graceland,
but
Elvis's home.
I believe it.
Really?
Well, yeah, they came damn close to it too.
I didn't hear that. Wow.
Oh,
Who owns that? Lisa Marie?
well,
Her daughter.
her daughter, and her
Okay,
daughter
one of
took it
the
to court.
kids just died, right?
Lisa
Her-
Marie.
Lisa
Well,
Marie.
Yeah, Lisa Marie
The
died,
daughter died.
and then
And his wife.
and
No,
one,
the
of
daughter.
one of her children died too. The son, who kind of looked
Oh,
like
yeah,
Elvis.
right. But her daughter is the owner of Graceland.
Yeah,
So is there a trust that owns it?
I think
Is Priscilla still alive?
Yeah.
she's still alive, but she's kind of out of the picture now.
Oh, okay.
It's Elvis. It's her daughter,
It's like Elvis
Riley,
Incorporated. or something.
Riley Keough, or whatever her name is. She's in control, but this
Okay.
scam artist tried to, steal Graceland right from under their noses. So it's incredible.
Well, thank you, Scott, for the time, man.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, that was such fun talking.
We
to you.
we
Thanks. I got an extra week out of that.
No, this is great, man. Your time, you and Freddie go way back, and that's good. That's a cool story, and we were really excited to get you on since day one, and the fact that you allow us to come down and hang with you, we really appreciate this.
Cool.
And our friendship we have now, talking on the phone all the time, we'll always have that. So anytime you want to get something out there, let us know. And
Are you guys all in one car? or what?
We are. And let me give you my card too. My phone number's on there.
Okay.
If you should ever have to get in touch, by all means. Hopefully you can come down to Bay City sometime and check out the Hall of Fame. I should tell you that you got a couple songs in there too. Not only the Rationals, but the song Respect is in the Hall of Fame as a legendary Michigan song, as is your City Slang by Sonic's Rendezvous
Oh,
Band.
great.
Yeah. So, very cool.
Those are couple of landmarks for Detroit.
You know they were, definitely.
Well, I was hoping to go to the store and pick up some stuff.
You know, if I can leave one of these guys here, or however you want to do it, I can run you across to the
You
store.
can leave them all here and just take me.
On behalf of our hosts, this podcast wouldn't be here without generosity of the Bay City Historical Museum, which hosts the Rock and Roll Legends Hall of Fame. We'd also like to thank all of our guests, and especially to the listeners. The MMHP is found at 989.network, or where all podcasts can be found. You can find updated information as well as Dr. J and Sir Fred's Picks of the Week on Facebook. Also on Facebook, check out Mr. Mike's Local Music Live series and Scott's Mid-Mitten 15 from Harvest Canteen Studios, featuring one-on-one interviews with Michigan music artists. You can connect with Scott on the web at scottbakermusic.com, Dr. J at michiganrockandrolllegends.com, Sir Fred at fredrife.com, and Mr. Mike on YouTube as Mr. BT1. That's MRBTEE and the number 1.
On behalf of us hosts, Dr. J, Sir Fred, Mr. Mike, and myself, we'd like to thank Mr. Eddie Switek, the voice of the MMHP and the 989.
Gang, I guess speakeasy, you would say.
Okay.
Well, Iggy,
Sure.
you know, in his band, the
There's Blind
Iguanas.
Faith.
Yeah, they were the house band.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in Harbor Springs.
I know. Harbor Springs.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, yeah, I know where that is. It's
No,
the
just-
Legs In.
Northwest of,
The Legs In.
where
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Tunnel
Yeah,
of
I've been
Trees
there.
is.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Right, just past that. Yeah.
It's kind of a resort area. Now. It's like
Well, right.
tourist area all down Lake Michigan, the coast, like from Saugatuck all the way up the coast. We used to get a tent and just drive all the way up the coast of Lake Michigan up to Mackinac.
Yeah, it's a beautiful area up there.
Yeah, it's all resorts, and then
Yeah.
by every campground there would be a giant coal burning power plant. And the story about those guys was that they had these scrubbers in their chimneys, and they were supposed to get inspections once a month or something like that, but they always knew when the inspector was coming, so they turned the scrubbers on so they'd be legal, and then when he's gone they turn it back off again and just shoot out coal dust out in the air.
Jeez.
So now they just said something on here. It says wind power is just overtaking fossil fuels in the United States. That's what it says.
Really?
They're generating so much solar power that they've got too much, and they still haven't tapped into desalination because it's ocean all the way up the coast, all the way to Alaska. And if they could just desalinize that, they could have drinking water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But they want the Great Lakes.
Yeah.
They're not going to get it, though.
Well, I hope not.
No. They want us to pipe it down to them, drain the Great Lakes
Yeah,
like
that
Lake
would be
Superior
bad.
and shit like
Yeah.
that. God. That ain't never going to happen. It's weird. They're getting really pushy about this whole thing. You've probably heard all about the 2025 thing.
Well, I just got scammed for $6,000.
Hillsdale College? It's a right-wing Christian school. It's
No,
right out
no.
by Jackson.
No. Is that what I said?
No, he was talking about
Oh.
your message was from Hillsdale.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,